So this meeting is being recorded, it just said. Anyway, thank you so much for everybody. And so I think, as most of you know, we originally were going to do this at Utah Park, and with the uncertainty of the pandemic, we were advised that it would be better if we didn't do it in person. So the committee got together and we put together this Zoom meeting. So we are very thankful that we have this opportunity, that we can do this, because we didn't want to cancel it. We really wanted to move forward and get as many people together as we could. So I appreciate your patience with this, and all of you who have helped me along the way to put this together. I'm eternally grateful. I also want to thank Sina Johnson, Emily Whelan, and Angie Gilbert. They're at Mark's house live right now. They've been there since this afternoon. And Angie has a lot of technical skills. So she was able to hook up this Zoom meeting on Mark's big screen TV. That way he can see more of you than looking at that itty bitty little iPad. And that was really important for us, so that Mark could see as many people at one time, instead of having to scroll like he does during our meetings. The three of them are also going to act as Vanna White and helping me out since I'm at home. And so it's going to be great to have them there to help out with this process. I know that this is a little bit challenging, so I'm going to be sharing my screen a lot to show you all some of the things that we are giving Mark, and some of the things that we have done for him, so that all of you can see it up close and personal. It would be very hard for us to share some of this stuff and, shove it in the screen. And so we thought that we'll take a little bit of time, share the screen with what we're giving him, and then I'll unshare it and go back to people who will be speaking. So as you know, this is going to be recorded. Mark is not going to be reading the chat during the program. The recording is going to record the chat, and he will be able to see that later. At the end, you all will have an opportunity to say something to Mark if you want, and we'll set that up once we're finished with the program. Hopefully all of you know by now, with as many times as we have Zoomed either together or with other people, if y'all could stay on mute, with the exception of Mark and the committee members, that'll make this go a little bit smoother. And then those of you that are speakers, just a reminder, I'll introduce y'all when it's time for you to speak. Hopefully you printed your lineup, and you'll know when it's your turn to talk. So thank you all for doing that. So at this point, let's sit back, relax. Hopefully y'all have a drink, and let's enjoy Mark's retirement party. So Sina Johnson is going to start the party with one of Mark's favorite things, food. Sina? Where is she? So Sina, explain what's going on with the food. That's your part.
Mark's muted. Mark's not muted. So Mark and Michael gave us their favorite food, and we've ordered their favorite food because if we were not virtual, we'd all be eating together. And in my world where food is love, we're putting all of our love into these burritos and a festive sombrero to go along. And in a moment, I'll be serving margaritas. Everybody can join in. Don't feel shy about eating because Mark will be taking some bites and eating, and Michael will join in. Don't feel shy about eating because Mark will be.
So Mark,
We're there. Okay, thank you, Gary.
Taking some bites and eating, and Michael will join in. Don't feel shy about eating.
Oh, we're there. Okay, thank you very much. We're there.
okay, so we have people that need to mute.
Mark or Rita?
So Mark needs to stay off of mute, and the rest of you, please mute. I know that that's a little bit hard.
Your head is so much bigger than mine.
If you can kind of keep an eye on that for me, that'd be awesome.
There we go. There's Mark.
Awesome.
Okay. Begin the feasting.
Okay.
Thank you, Sina. Yeah, if we had been live, we would have been catering something for Mark and Michael. So, so anyway, we still wanted to do that. So we're starting this off with, like I said, something that's one of his favorite things to do is eat. So the next thing, and drink. Oh, so let me tell you a little story about that margarita that Mark is drinking right now. So Michael, Gale, is his partner, and he worked with us to help us know what he likes to drink. So he sent us a picture of this margarita mix, and it's already pre-made. And so we're having our meeting. And Sina goes, well, that's Members Mark. That is a Sam's Club pre-made mix. And I'm like, oh, good. So my sister is a Sam's Club member. So, so I get her in the car. We go to Sam's Club. Well, the Sam's Club we went to doesn't have alcohol. So we get in the car, we go to the next Sam's Club. Well, they don't flip and have alcohol either. And I'm like, okay, what is up with this? And so then we go to Aurora and they have alcohol. So I'm all excited. We go in there and we ask the guy, where's your alcohol? And he goes, the third party alcohol center is in the back of the store. So we go to the back of the store. Well, they don't have Members Mark margaritas mix. So I'm like, you got to flip and be kidding me. So that was the third store we had gone to, and it was late by then and they were closing. So the only place that had that margarita mix was in Castle Rock. So a few days ago, my sister and I hopped in the car. We drove down to Castle Rock and we grabbed that margarita mix. And I should have grabbed one for me too, which I didn't. But I'm happy that we found that, and I'm glad you're enjoying that, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks for the help with that too, Michael.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, so the next thing is we have a surprise guest. And Mark, I'm gonna tell you a couple things about this person and we're gonna see if you can guess who it is. So this is a friend of yours. Do you know?
It's getting smaller by the moment.
Okay. All right. He is a musician. So you know that it is a he or a they. He is a concert pianist. You have an
Mark
idea?
Hayes.
You are very smart. Mark Hayes is also a conductor. He is also an arranger. Mark, when this was still going to be at Utah Park, and he was looking at coming out in person and surprising you.
Wow.
So he happens to be
Mark
Hayes. Yep, a full-time composer. So at this point, I'm honored to introduce Mark's dear friend, Mark Hayes.
Thank you, Lynn. Hey, Mark. Can you see me on the screen there eventually? I'm in the purple,
Yeah.
waving at you. Hey, Michael.
Hello.
It would have been great to be out because Lynn was saying, "Oh, you can stay with Mark and Michael." So, I would have probably been on the couch with you if all things had worked out. So, and I'm really jealous of I don't have a T-shirt with your face on it like Lynn does. So, and if my husband, whose name is Mike, by the way, too, his favorite drink is margaritas. So we would have just it would have worked out great. Hey, it's been a while since we've seen each other, and I miss you guys. And I was thinking about what I could say about you that I could say in polite company, but and maybe this isn't polite company. So anyway, gosh, it's probably been 20 years that we've known each other, hasn't it been? A long, long time. And
About 30, Mark.
30. Okay, well then that just shows how old I am. Yeah. And
The Las Vegas days.
Yeah, that was it. It was the Las Vegas days, totally. And so back in the day, Mark, was a vocal coach for such luminaries as Michael Crawford, who did Les Mis, right? Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera, that's right stuff. So I actually have a letter from Michael Crawford in my alpha file that I got connected to him based on this guy. So how fun was that? And I've not known Mark so much through his incredible conducting with Denver Women's Chorus, but mainly through St. Andrew Church, so United Methodist. So that's been kind of how we've known each other in the last several years. But it's kind of funny because when we first met, it was a little bit of fangirling going on. And so I'm really glad that Mark has kind of given all that up and we're just friends and I'm not a celebrity to him anymore because that feels a little bit more authentic and honest. And so I have some really good memories of just being in New York City at Lincoln Center with his choir when I conducted the world premiere of a work I wrote called The American Spirit. And he was trusted me enough to have his choir be part of the mass choir and orchestra that I got to conduct there. And so that was a really fun 3 or 4 days where we got to do that. And I really hats off to you, man, for really preparing your choir well and doing that. And then he said, hey, let's make this happen again and do it in Highland Ranch. And so he invited me to come in. That was in 2011 when we did the New York thing. And then in 2014, I came to the Denver area and we did the American Spirit at St. Andrews. So that was, again, it was so fun to get to meet all of his choir because not all of them could come to New York. And what I know about this man is that, as you know, because he's your director, is that he's an unbelievable musician. He loves you, and he shows that through his care and holding up a real high bar of excellence musically, and knowing you, wanting to know you personally, and not just as a music machine, but as live human beings. And so that's the friend that I know in Mark Zwilling. And just if I were there, I'd give you a big hug and tell you I love you and wish we lived closer.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. I couldn't roast you because I don't know enough dirt about you, so I had to toast you.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
There's always enough dirt to roast Mark Zwilling.
Okay.
Mark, thank you so much for have a personal touch or a personal friend of Mark's to come today to experience this with him. So we really appreciate you taking the time there in Kansas. Kansas City, I think is where you
Kansas City, Missouri, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for
You're welcome.
coming today, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of what we have in store for Mark. So thank you.
Sure.
All right, so the next thing that we have is we wanted to start this party off, and Mark, did you get your invitation in the mail?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to make sure that you got it before I say something. So anyway,
It was beautiful.
Yes, I'm going to be sharing a picture of what we put together. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and so that you all can see this. Can everybody see that? Thumbs up. So the committee really wanted something special, and we didn't want just to go to the store and buy an invitation. We wanted something that was specific to you. So Angie Gilbert, with her skills, got on a computer and says, I can design this. So Angie designed this card, and you can see where she, on the left side where it has the notes, we put the notes in pride colors, and then she put the logo on the piano. And it was really important for us to have a piano on this because of your stellar accomplishment as a pianist. And that is something that we will always remember you for. And then when you open up the envelope, or I'm sorry, open up the card, then all of you can see what the committee came up with to write on the inside. And the envelope, if you will see that, is also lined with a music score. And so once Angie got this all designed and put together, Bree Waits, who's a first soprano. God, she and I sit together all the time. I can't believe I messed that up. Sorry, Bree. Her mom makes these cards. So Angie took her design to Bree's mother, and Bree's mom made this card, this invitation, and she also handmade the envelope. That's not a normal envelope. So I'm glad that you liked it, but we wanted something that was a one of a kind, specific to you, and something that you could keep and remember us by on this day. So we're glad
beautiful.
you enjoyed it.
Thank you. Lovely.
Angie, I want to thank you for your work with this too, because it took a long time to design this, and she put a lot of time and effort into that. And I think she's missed her calling. She should start her own business. So anyway, thanks again. So right now, I would like to introduce the first speaker. It's Michael Sattler, who is our RMAA guru. He's our executive director. He's in charge of everything. And he's done a great job during this pandemic and kept a lot of things going. So we really thank you for that, Michael. But what we're really going to thank you for is the words that you have to say about Mark.
Well, thank you for that introduction. Mark, I am so happy to see your smiling face on this Zoom party. No, seriously, I'm happy to see your face because that means you finally figured out how to turn on your computer and how to use Zoom. I'm not saying you're technically challenged, but I think turning on your computer is the first electronic device you've successfully mastered since that pull-string Fisher-Price World of Animals toy, The Cow Goes Moo. I've been on innumerable Zoom meetings with Mark during this pandemic, and he's always the first one waiting to be led into the Zoom meeting. So I have to ask Mark, you know this isn't Thursday's staff meeting, right? And I see that when you focus on his job with his church, St. Andrew, down at Highlands Ranch, which I think is somewhere south of New Mexico. And speaking of New Mexico, we have something similar, Mark. You are from Albuquerque, and I'm from Farmington. A person from Albuquerque and a baby. The baby will eventually stop whining. Mark is also a great social justice activist, having participated in many social justice protests. Mark is proud to say that he recently remembers marching in that great protest demanding justice and equality, that is, giving the women the right to vote just before the 19th Amendment was ratified. Now, I'm not saying, Mark, you're old, but just a hint. You know, when you're drinking the margarita, that's legal because prohibition has been repealed. Now, Mark can really play the piano. I love him watching Tinkle the Ivories. I remember one time when I came into a DWC rehearsal before it started, and Mark was banging his head sideways on the piano. I became alarmed and asked what was happening, and he just said, "Oh, I'm just playing by ear." Why are pianists' fingers like lightning? They rarely strike the same place twice. Mark is always very humble as well. During his concerts, he usually says that he's not a great public speaker. Here's some friendly advice for you, Mark. Number one, make sure that you have finished speaking before your audience has finished listening. And number two, be brief, be sincere, and be seated. Of course, you can throw in some jokes like, did you know there are public speaking potatoes? Nothing special, really. They're just commentators. Mark, I will personally miss you, and I thank you for sharing your talent, time, and resources for 19 plus years with DWC and RMAA. I wish you the best, and I hope to see you in the audience at future DWC concerts.
Thank you, Michael. That was awesome. Our next speaker is the DGMC's Artistic Director, James Knapp. And I'm sure that he has some great things to say about you as well. So James, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And you have the
It's
floor.
great being here on this momentous day for you, Mark. We have shared lots of margaritas and Mexican food together. So Mark and I have a very fun sort of caloric collegiate relationship as well. So cheers to you, and I hope you have a wonderful night. I've actually met Mark a long time ago in 2005 when I was the director of the Gay Men's Chorus of Houston. And the men's chorus had decided that we wanted to start a sisters chorus. And so there were a few choruses in the United States that really stood out. And the Denver Women's Chorus was one of them, along with Seattle, Muse in Cincinnati, Sound Circle with Sue Coffey, and the Dallas Women's Chorus. And I will always be indebted to Mark for his advice and his encouragement as we started that chorus and grew it to 75 voices through the support and the mentoring of those directors. So Mark, I will always be thankful for the repertoire suggestions that you had and how you did business. You are part of the success of that wonderful chorus. I actually met Mark in 2011 in Washington, DC, where we had lunch together. It was at the American Guild of Organists conference. And for those of you that don't know the American Guild of Organists, you can imagine 700 church organists gathered in one place. To say it was eccentric is an understatement. So we had a really fun time there. And it was at that time that I thought that guy would be a lot of fun to work with. Little did I know that 3 years later, I would be applying for the job in Denver. And again, Mark was just very encouraging about really looking into that position, along with Sue Coffey and Ben. And at the time, Mark was the Out Loud director. So we had a lot to talk about. So you can either love Mark or hate Mark for being a big part of my decision to move here. But we have had a lot of fun together, and Mark with this wonderful colleague, lots of great laughs, and I wish you the very best. And I know that you have some great music to make in the future. And if the mission of RMAA is transforming in a profound way.
Wow, James, you almost made me cry. That was very heartfelt. Thank you so much. So part of this program and part of what we wanted to do for Mark was to give him some gifts. So the first set of gifts that we're going to be giving Mark is presentation number 1, and Angie Gilbert will be making that presentation. Go ahead, Angie. You got to tell people what it is, Angie. Mark, you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I have to leave the room so there's no echo. We went through all the concerts that we had on file and made copies of every single concert that Mark's done in the last almost 20 years. And it was a feat, believe me. It took a really long time, but we just wanted him to have those if he ever wanted to recall a song or a concert, listen to them. So he has all the CDs from all the past concerts now. Plus we archived all the others so that we all have them as well.
And this, Angie's right, this is a huge feat. And Angie and I did a lot of beer and pizza nights, ripping those CDs and making sure that Mark had those. And it also was a way that we could finally get the archives organized. So we killed 2 birds with 1 stone, and the archives are all finished and organized as well. So Angie, thank you again for your expertise on doing all that. And she's right. We spent many, many nights doing that, but I hope that you enjoy those, Mark. All right, so our next speaker is going to be Connie North. She's one of the original members of DWC. She's also a section leader for the soprano ones. And she has been the MAC chairperson for, I believe, that entire time. So Connie, the floor is yours. Are you here? I'm not sure I saw you.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. All righty. So yeah, this was really hard for me to figure out what to say because so many years. I actually was not chair of MAC for the whole time I was in chorus. I started with MAC in 1996, I think, and I was a member of MAC for 5 years, and then I became chair in 2001, and I've been chair of MAC ever since until last summer when I finally decided I was done that. But yeah, so I most of that time. About rehearsal, we talked in the committee about Markisms, and we came up with what we called Markisms, and we came up with a few. And so just the ones I'm thinking of right now, one of the things that I'm going to miss is Mark crossing himself just before we started a difficult piece. I don't think he ever did it in a concert. And then he always talked about Evelyn Wood speed reading and how we were going to, learn the music really fast because we would do, and most people, and then where are my ethereals? Because for several years I was an ethereal. I was one of the highs, the sopranos who could reach high notes. Unfortunately, the old gray voice ain't what it used to be, and I'm not an ethereal anymore. I'm not even sure I'm a soprano anymore, but yes, I remember going, oh, materials, where are my ethereals? And one of my favorite memories, and there are many, many with Mark, it was hard to pick out even one, but the one I thought of was standing in his backyard with everybody with the golf course behind us and practicing the national anthem. when we went to sing at the Rockies game. And with the golf course behind us, and when we finished, we got applause from the golfers that were walking through. So that was kind of fun. And then I'm going to tell a little story, which I actually told to Mark a couple months ago, and he had never heard it before because it just wasn't anything that came up. But I was actually on the search committee when we hired Mark. And so I was looking at the progress the search committee is making now. And we started out with we interviewed the 4, and then we narrowed it down to 3. And then 2 of them came and tried out in front of the chorus. And the chorus voted at that point after they had, done their little tryout. And I believe they did vote for Mark. But by that time in the committee, we were all just, yeah, it's Mark, it's Mark. So we had to do one last meeting to officially, decide that, yes, we were going to recommend Mark to the board for director. And, and so we all met at my house, and I had baked brownies, and this is how the meeting went. It took us about 2 seconds to say, yes, this is what we're going to do, Mark. There's no question. We spent the rest of the evening eating brownies and talking about how cute we thought Mark was. So that's really not the basis that we picked him. But and none of us dreamed, that it was going to be almost a 20-year. We had never had the longest any director who stayed with us was 8 years. We had no idea that it was going to be this long-term, wonderful, wonderful run. So much love, so much fun, so much music, so much everything.
During 11 days of fighting, at least 240 Palestinians and 12.
What? Anyway, so that's my tribute to Mark as best as I can make it. So
Thank you, Connie. I just wanted to make sure that they weren't magic brownies.
I ate one once, and it was a weird experience.
Connie, you're doing Zoom and eating brownies.
Not now. This is in my youth.
Thank you, Connie. That was very heartfelt, and we appreciate that memory. So our next speaker is Rachel Walker. She is a council member. She's also our membership co-chair, and she is an Alto 1. Rachel?
I wrote it down. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. Mark, I've been dreading this day because it feels like goodbye, and I'm not ready for that. I've always enjoyed your creativity and your leadership. Somehow, you helped make chorus a blast, but still remind us how important it is to focus on the work. I am honored to know someone so warm, genuine, and kind, who I now call a friend. Because you are so talented, it means that much more that you have become my biggest cheerleader. When you tell me you think I should be on Broadway, I believe you mean it. Of course, you're the same person who said, "You don't sing like that in chorus, do you?" during an audition. I'll miss seeing that fuzzy lemonade always by your feet and your funny stories that sometimes come out of nowhere. I'll miss watching you squirm when you apologize for swearing. Mark, heck is not a curse word. More than anything, I'll miss your love for the Denver Women's Chorus and for each individual within it. You helped turn this chorus into a home for me, and for that, I will always be thankful. I hope to see you soon, Mark. So this is not a goodbye, but a see you soon, and I love you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. Gosh, we almost need a moment to go get Kleenex after that. So, so our next gift, our gift number 2, is going to be presented by Sina. And so, Sina, you're on.
So, can you hear me, Lynn?
Yes.
Cool. So Carolyn Diekman and I put these together for the 35th anniversary. Most of you have seen them, but we recreated them for Mark so that he can have them because he loved them so much. But they were a decade at a time of the books from our 35th anniversary, and they have tons of history in here and just a beautiful example of the years of the Denver Women's Chorus. So I think he'll appreciate this since this is something he really enjoyed when we made it for the 35th. So Carolyn, did I say Carolyn Diekman? She helped make these with me. So.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Sorry, I thought Sina was doing that, but I appreciate you doing that. The cool thing with Sina, as you all know, she is also taking pictures of this experience at Mark's home, and we will be sharing those pictures with all of you. So I saw her camera in the screen just a second ago. So our next speaker is Rebecca Louden. Rebecca has a Louden Foundation, and she's one of our biggest donors. And we're indebted to her with how much she has supported the Denver Women's Chorus. But she is a soprano too, so I'm not going to hold that against her since she's not a soprano 1. So I know the altos have to be left out on that one. But anyway, Rebecca, thank you for being here, and you're up.
Thank you, Lynn. And I speak to that, by the way, so I can't wait to get to that part. Okay, I'm going to bring up my notes. Okay, so when Mark was first considered as the director of the chorus, there was a big hullabaloo because the chorus expected, and why wouldn't they, to have a woman conductor. Mark's offending Y chromosome caused much consternation, and there was a lot of concern about what it would do to our women's community. As we all came to find out, Mark possessed good listening skills, a certain equanimity, and a sincere wish for the chorus to thrive. It turned out that despite his gender identity, Mark was just what we needed. I'd like to note that the chorus he inherited was full of drama and was what I would call, personally, relatively unstable. Mark, thinking that he was getting into this for just a couple years at most, seemed to have a sort of magic touch which somehow calmed or even made the chorus less appealing for the most egregious of the divisive personalities. I don't know if you realize this, that he somehow had this effect. It was subtle, I think, for the most part, but certain. And the chorus started to grow in size as well over the long term. I remember thinking that the music, on the other hand, suddenly seemed to shift and take on what I perceived to be a more syrupy flavor. I was very skeptical that I would enjoy that. Somehow, however, it turned out that it won me over in the end, and I found myself enjoying less cynical, more romantic, more effusive melodies than I would have otherwise. The same was true of the inclusion of choreography. I love all the chorus singers, but they did not strike me as a group to be overly inclined to sing and dance simultaneously at that time. And I admit that I had a certain curmudgeonly attitude about movement. This turned out to be an audience winner, however, and the addition of small groups and additional dance moves and skit-like performances really added to the experience for those attending. I have to say I wasn't entirely thrilled when he moved me from the alto twos to the soprano twos. And then I had to adjust to not being the sopranos. But of course, that was just because he loved us so much that he had to cover up his preference for our voices. But I will end on a serious note. It was actually one of those silly Facebook quizzes that one completes just to be entertained and to waste a little time. And it got me thinking. It asked, who do you know that you would trust implicitly? And who is the most trustworthy person who, even without oversight, you would trust to do the right thing to the best of their ability? And I realized that the answer would be Mark. Now, not to be trusted with minutia like the fact I am a terrible housekeeper. That kind of information could be shared with the entire chorus on a whim when Mark decides to do one of his little call outs on individuals' moments. But the real important stuff, like what is going on in one's core family of origin, Mark kept up with that information when I was taking vocal lessons with him. And when my mom died suddenly, he came to the funeral. So when it counts, I trust him, and he's worthy of that trust. And I'm so glad the chorus trusted him. So aside from being adorable, as Connie pointed out, he was the perfect choice for the chorus. And Mark, I'm sure everyone is going to say this, but you'll be missed. And thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm gonna just piggyback something that you said. The one thing that Mark has done, among many things, is how much he reaches out to chorus members when they are having their own personal struggles. And that will definitely be something, Mark, that many of us are going to remember about you. So thank you so much for that act of kindness. All right, our gift number 3 isn't our gift. It's actually a gift from the board. And we are very honored to have Ann Afton here, who is one of the co-presidents of the board. And I believe this might have been her idea, but anyway, I want to introduce Ann Afton, co-president of the RMAA board, to give you a special presentation.
Remember to unmute myself. Thank you, Lynn. So I'm really lucky because I don't have to tell a story because I would probably cry. Instead, I'm going to read a proclamation from the board for Mark. And this is formal. So here's the proclamation. Whereas Mark Christopher Zwilling is a highly respected artist holding a bachelor's degree of music with an emphasis in piano performance and a bachelor's degree in music education with an emphasis in choral music from Eastern New Mexico University, and a master's degree in music from DePaul University. And whereas Mark has a deep intrinsic care for humanity and expresses that care through the passionate creation, teaching, and promotion of music with performers and to audiences. And whereas Mark has served with unwavering dedication as artistic director of the Denver Women's Chorus for nearly 20 years, expanding the chorus from a 40-member community to a nearly 150-member community during his tenure, and raising the stature of the chorus locally and nationally. And whereas Mark has inspired, under his leadership, the creation of new music through a number of commissions and collaborations, including We the People, Women in War, Gitchigami, Power Lines, and Lifting as We Climb. And whereas Mark has promoted the mission of the Rocky Mountain Arts Association of building community through music, inspiring singers and audiences alike as a respected member of the musical community, therefore be it proclaimed by the powers invested in us, the Board of Directors of the Rocky Mountain Arts Association, that Mark Christopher Zwilling is hereby named Artistic Director Emeritus. And furthermore, be it known that the entire RMAA family wishes our friend Mark a prosperous and fulfilling future as he continues on his path of pursuing his passion and commitment to building community and spreading joy through his music. Thank you,
Wow.
Mark.
Thank you, goodness.
Well, Anne, I don't know how in the world you could read that without crying. That was beautifully written, and thank you so much. And it's obvious that you spent a lot of time putting that together, and it's worth it for sure. So thank you for that. And Mark, that is very well deserved. Very well deserved.
Wow.
Is your partner okay? I saw him dart.
We vowed we would not cry. That's not work. It's not working out very well.
Well, I kind of saw that. So, my Vanna White co-directors there aren't doing a very good job throwing clean. So what the heck is going on with you all? You're a little lazy over there. Come on. You're supposed to be doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Dabble away or something. Now, see, that's perfect. Who cares about the clean? Give him a drink, for heaven's sakes. Thank you again, Anne. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
So our next speaker is Cece Thomas. She's a past council president. She's a soprano too. And she has some things that she wants to say to you as well.
Goodness, I'm not sure how I'm going to follow that. What can I say, Mark? To reiterate what a few people have already said, Mark is such a kind, warm-hearted person, and has always shown compassion for everybody. He might not remember your name right away, but he will always remember something unique about you. And he might get your name wrong a few times. He'll worry about you regardless if he's known you for 10 years or 3 weeks. He's just that type of person. As a director, he tries hard to find the balance between teaching and fun, with just enough naivety to keep most people guessing if he honestly really doesn't know. I mean, he knows, but you might think he doesn't know. Now, Mark and I go a way back, from rehearsals at the Edgewater Church, where there was 0 parking and these unusual, weird, big bugs that annoyed everybody. Oh my goodness. The days before social media, where Mark would put his chorus digest in everyone's chair before rehearsal began. We would sit in the back and wait for everybody to appear and then go into chorus rehearsal together. It was a different time. That rehearsal space was small, and our current chorus would never fit in that rehearsal space at all. That is a sign of Mark's talent. Now, there was a period of time that was hard on nonprofits everywhere, and DWC's future was looking bleak. We had numerous board discussions about what to do. Eventually, through some skillful negotiations, DWC started the process of coming under RMAA's umbrella. Mark's leadership and dedication during that time was simply amazing. Now, we had some amazing highs too. We went to Miami in some unique humidity, had standing ovations at gala events. I was fortunate enough to be the president and presented Mark with a special 25th anniversary poster at our 25th anniversary concert dinner in a time that we didn't think we were going to have a 25th anniversary at all. That was a wonderful concert. Mark's choice of music and our subsequent performances at multiple gala events have always met with resounding success. And in fact, his camaraderie with our music advisory committee is legendary throughout the music scene. Even though he has the final decision, he listens to the diverse committee who takes their responsibility seriously. He applies the same trust with every committee in DWC, utilizing the many unique talents of our members, enforcing the community aspect of our mission. Some of my best memories of Mark are at retreat in those in-between moments. He knows that Saturdays are long, especially the afternoon, and while breakout sessions are nice, nothing beats an errant remark from Mark that will send everyone into peals of laughter, and they are always the "you had to be there" kind of moments. I'm going to miss the way you insist on putting out the chairs just so before everyone shows up, and playing Cards Against Humanity at retreat. But if you ever need someone to navigate your way out of a paper bag or past some fellow snow-stuck chorus members, I will always be there for you.
Thank you, Cece.
Thank you for all those memories. I learned a lot from your presentation today. So some of that stuff is really good to know. So thank you, Cece. Our next speaker are some alumni. Well, Ann Foster is still with us. Meg is an alumni, but Ann Foster is a soprano too. Her partner, Meg Rebel, did I say that right, Meg? Thank you, is also one of our former DWC presidents. And they have kind of a different type of presentation for you.
So Mark has been immersed in beavers from our first colony meeting. And so I want to read from Mark's favorite natural history book, In Beaver World by Enos.
Beaver World, yay!
And we want to bestow the highest honor as part of the ancient and honorable Order of Beaver Scouts. May her colony ever increase. Yes. Beaver may well be called the silent workers. No matter how numerous or crowded or busy they are, their work goes on without a word. Although I have seen them at work scores of times, in the twilight, in the daylight, singly, in pairs, and by the dozens, doing the many kinds of work which beaver perform. Yet this work has always gone quietly and without visible evidence of management. Each one is capable of acting independently. Since the quality of his work improves as the beaver increases his experience, it appears natural and probable that each colony of beaver has a leader who plans and directs the work. I'm familiar with a number of instances in which strongly indicate leadership. In times of emergence, when an entire colony is forced to immigrate, a beaver, usually an aged one, takes the lead, and wherever he goes, the others willingly follow.
Thank you, Meg. I do remember that being one of Mark's favorite passages from In Beaver World. And I would just like to read one of his favorite passages about musical notes. The beaver is not often heard. He works in silence. When he pauses from his work, he sits meditatively like a philosopher. At times, however, when in traveling, beaver are separated from one another, they give a strange shrill whistle or call. Occasionally, the whistle appears to be a call of alarm, suspicion, or warning. Sometimes when alarmed, a young beaver gives a shrill and frightened cry, not unlike that of a lost human child. On a few occasions I have heard while listening near a beaver house in the early summer, something of a subdued concert going on inside, a purring, rhythmic melody. They have a kind of love ditty also. This is a rhythmic murmur and sigh, very appealing, and it seems strangely elemental as it floats across the beaver pond in twilight. You know, Mark, we live right here in Castle Rock, nary a mile across the meadow from you. If ever you need us to help you with your colony or your dam, please just call out with your shrill whistle. Thank you, Mark.
That was awesome. Thank you, Ann and Meg. Wow, so that was great. All right, our gift number 4 is up next. And so actually, Emily Wieland is going to be giving Mark this gift. So Emily, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm invisible, but I'm here.
Okay. So
should I give it?
You're going to give it to him so he can open it? You got. And then Emily, once he opens it and shows it, explain what it is.
A digital picture frame. It's already been uploaded with lots of photos and programs from over Mark's time with us. So all you have to do is turn it on. It's super user friendly. Plug it in and it'll work. And there's a website that folks can send, or an email address that folks can send pictures to. If you have course photos with Mark, you can still email them. And Angie's going to put the address in the chat for folks.
So Mark, that picture frame has over almost 450 photos on it. So we have 80 some odd photos that were shared by course members through the email address. And it's really cool how that works. It goes directly for all of you on this call. You just email photos to the address that Angie just shared, and it goes directly to the picture frame. You don't have to put in a subject or say anything. You just email the picture. And so then, again, Angie and I, over beer and pizza and beer and lack of sleep and whatever, downloaded a bunch of photos, and it amazes me how much Angie knows, thank God, because I had the picture frame at my house. She was at her house downloading photos, because the other day I look at the picture frame to make sure everything is set, and there was like 50 blank black frames, and I'm like, oh no. So we had to go through and delete those and re-upload stuff. And it's amazing the things that Angie knows how to do, because she was doing it all remotely to the picture frame while I was looking at it. And so it was great. And so I learned a lot and saw a lot of pictures I had never seen. But seriously, if any of you also want to continue to share, because pictures can be shared to that frame forever. So Angie is going to set that up for you. It has a little remote control, and she's going to hook it into your Wi-Fi because it needs a Wi-Fi connection. And you're going to love it. It's amazing. We also, since we were going through all the archives, got a hold of every program, scanned every program cover in. So you have all the program covers on that picture frame as well, of all the concerts that you did.
Wow, that is terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you.
That was Emily Wieland's idea to do that. I mean, we originally were going to do a scrapbook, And so I called our committee originally, the scrapbook committee. And then it was like, oh God, doing a scrapbook, that's going to be tedious. And how are we going to get stuff? She came up with the idea about the picture frame. So we scrapped the scrapbook idea and changed our committee name to the Scrap Committee. So that's how we were known for the rest of the time that we were together. All right, at this time, speaking of our committee, I really would like to recognize the people on the committee. When we got the announcement that you were going to retire, we went into planning mode immediately. And so Karen Avalis, is she on the call? I haven't been able to screen anything. Have people seen Karen Avalis? I know she is traveling. So doesn't sound like she's on the call. So Karen was wonderful.
Yeah,
She's
I'm on it. I'm on.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Karen. Yay. So Karen was in cahoots with Michael Gale, Mark's partner, and she would call Michael and say, hey, what kind of food do y'all like? Hey, what's Mark's favorite this? What should we do about that? And so Karen and Michael were in constant contact with each other. And I know he's a little shy and doesn't necessarily like being on this call, but you're doing a great job, Michael. So hang in there.
All right.
Thank you for all your work with Karen Avalis. Couldn't have done it without you. Connie North, she is flipping amazing. Since we don't have years on all of our programs, half the time I didn't know what year something was done. Connie gave me this list, not only in order of your first, you were in 2002, and I think it was in October or November, you played the piano for a concert, and she started there and then went year by year, month by month with the titles of all the concerts that you did. So it helped me when I was going through all the archives and putting it together, and then also finding what to scan. So Connie's amazing memory, I don't know how she remembers all that stuff. She was able to help us put all of this together. Without that, I have no idea where we would be. I would still be trying to figure out what year y'all were doing things before I joined the concert. And I didn't want to ask you because then you would know what we were up to. So thank you, Connie. Sina Johnson, as we all know, is the picture guru. She shoves that photo stick in your face all the time and takes picture after picture after picture. And if it wasn't for Sina, she had all of these photos, and a lot of those photos were taken by Sina that we put on your picture frame. We've also downloaded those photos to a Google Drive for RMAA that we can use in our archives. So Sina has been really instrumental in helping us with the memories of the chorus. So thank you, Sina. Emily Whelan has wonderful ideas, and she is the one that came up with the picture frame. And then something else that you are going to get here in a little bit. She helped us write the inscription, but she's amazing. She's got great ideas, and she makes us all laugh. Oh, I want to go back to Sina. The other great thing about Sina is she shows up for meetings even when we don't have them. So Emily gets this thing that Sina's joining a meeting on a day that we don't have it. So Sina was always really enthusiastic about being there. So that's also a good thing about Sina. Angie, all of you, I couldn't have done a lot of the technical things without her. She's there with you today. She knows how to do the picture frame. She knows how to convert photos and convert files to where it goes on the picture frame and also goes into the Google Drive. And so that kills two birds with one stone. So she's been instrumental, and the time that she has spent on all of this was amazing. We also have Cheryl Hamilton, who is the calm one and the one that, hey, don't forget to do this. And okay, so Lynn, you do that. Sina can do this. Angie can do that. And then we go, Cheryl, can you put it on Facebook? Because, and then while we're meeting, all of a sudden it's up on Facebook and poof, there it is. So Cheryl is the calm one and really keeps us focused and keeps us going. But her history of the chorus has also helped us a lot with all of this. So Cheryl, couldn't have done it without you. So thank you again. Yvonne Chirina Pacheco, she's the one that, have you thought about this? Don't forget about that. Oh, we probably shouldn't do that. Because when we were going to be live, we had all this other stuff that we had planned and, you know, obviously couldn't do it on Zoom, but she was also the person that came up with a lot of the ideas, and also another one that kept us focused. And a person who wasn't on the committee, but also that I wanted to recognize was Mark Hennigan, because he is the co-president now of DGMC, and he's helped us now archive our music. And Allison has been able to upload a lot of the virtual concerts and concerts that we have now into a Google Drive, so RMAA has it, and also has put together a folder for us for pictures, so that we can now put everything in one spot. And last but not least, I've mentioned him before, is Michael Gale. You were so wonderful in helping us out. And I just wanted to say that one more time, because we needed an insider to spy on him and tell us stuff about him. And without you, we would have had to send some random stranger to the door and knock on the door. So thank you so much for being so willing to answer our questions and to help us out with it. But that's your committee, y'all. Give them a big round of applause. Couldn't have done this without them. So thank you all. And I wish all committees went like this one does. Everybody showed up and everybody did what they were supposed to do. So thank you all. So our next thing is going to be presented to you, Mark. Emily is going to give you one more gift. And then I'm going to share my screen once you open it so people can see what it is. But we want you to open it first.
That's pretty.
Can everybody see my screen? Thumbs up, because I can only see a couple of you. So Mark, we really wanted to give you something, and this was designed by our committee and also a very good friend of mine who helped me do this plaque. And so it's kind of a funny story. The friend of mine that was doing this plaque needed to know what we were going to say. So on a Saturday, I'm texting 8 people on this committee. Okay, what are we going to say? So we're all texting each other and we're all coming up with stuff and we're rewriting it and rewriting it. And it was getting longer and longer and longer. And I said, good God, he's going to have to move to another house for as long as this thing is going on his wall. So, so Emily, the quiet one, the reserved one, the one that observes, throws this out. And so she wrote, your artistic talent, humor, and caring presence brought much joy to DWC. Thanks to you, we are and will remain connected in community and song. And so, Mark, thank you so much. We wanted you to see this, and we hope that every time you see this, you will remember us and know how much you mean to us and know how special you are and what you've done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to unshare my screen. All right, our next speaker. Beth is still alive, if any of you were wondering. She is our accompanist, and it's so good to see her. I've talked to her a couple times during this pandemic, and she was pretty excited to be a part of this process. So I now turn it over to Beth DeBoer.
Thanks, Lynn. Hi, Different Women's Chorus.
Hi.
I miss you all so much. I can't wait to see your faces in person. Hi, Mark. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
And all of you who are maybe not singing with us right now or who are guests, hi to all of you. Lynn, thank you. And to the committee, thank you for doing this and for giving everyone the opportunity to roast Mark. Let the roasting begin. Oh, I feel like I should sit this way for you all. Oh, okay, I'll face you. But you know what? Something's still not right. Mark, can you just turn to your left, please? Turn to your left, Mark. Better. Oh, now I recognize you. That's awesome. Yay. I went to Costco today and I was going to get a giant box of frozen corn dogs for Mark because he always says he loves corn dogs. And you know, they were completely out. And I think it's because of today. So you better make space in your freezer because I think you're going to get a lot of boxes. Mark, I was going to lead a warm up in your honor. So if you're a soprano, do, come on, come on, come on. Do, if you're an alto, do. It's just not the same on Zoom though. It's just not the same. Just doesn't work when it's virtual. I tried. Many times I have told Mark, usually after rehearsal, how I appreciate his calm demeanor, especially compared to so many of the directors that I've worked with before. 99% of the time, he just remains very smooth and calm and unperturbed on the podium. And then there's that 1% when he wants you to be fortissimo. And he's just all over the place. And he just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And he makes that face that he's making right now. But usually he's very, very calm. We've gone through so many happy times with Mark and galas. I will never forget my first gala. I was completely exhausted. Happy times. Oh, sorry, that's my dog's name and she thinks I'm talking to her. Her name's Gala. Gala, go sit down. That's really her name. Anyway, with Mark at the helm, we've had a lot of happy times and retreats. I'm not going to go there, but yeah, retreats were fun. And I loved at retreat, anytime any of you relentlessly teased Mark and publicly embarrassed Mark about his aversion. I'm reading the chat. His aversion. Okay, Mark, you have to go back and read the chat later you'll get it. Anyway, about your aversion to certain topics, shall we say. I'm going to try to keep it clean. And we, not all the times we're happy. We've gone through some loss with Mark as well. His mom, and more recently, but also sad, his dog. And yes, this chorus does know how to take care of each other no matter what the challenge. Sopranos, don't tell the altos this, but I think you're better at taking care of people. Altos, don't tell sopranos this, but I think you're better at taking care of people. Mark listened patiently and quietly during all the circles and helped to keep that tradition alive, whether you like circle or whether you don't like circle. It's a tradition, and he kept it alive, and it's still a valuable element of this community, I think. Oh, Christine, yes, I have to have an ABA conversation with you later. I hate to do this during rehearsal, but your code word is rock salt. Okay. When I Mark, you know you do it all the time. When I started playing for this chorus mid-year, and I think it was 2012, during the middle of the year, I noticed right away that Mark seemed to know exactly the music that he wanted to have the chorus sing at his funeral. And so immediately I started a list of every time he said something like that. And I had it on this little 8 GB thumb drive. And so I started in 2012, and I think it was about 2 years later, about mid-year of 2014 or so, that I ran out of room on the 8 GB thing. So I started putting it in the iCloud, putting it in the cloud. I had 50 gigs of memory, and I thought, I'm sure that's enough. Surely he can't, keep putting all this stuff out there. I mean, his funeral's going to last 3 days. So, but lo and behold, in 2017, I ran out of room in the 50 gig. So then I increased my space on in the cloud for Mark, for his funeral music, to 250 gigabytes. And I thought, okay, that's it. There's no way he can ever say he wants this and this and this and this so much that I run out of space. But right before the pandemic, guess what happened? So anyway, I just want to say those 1 terabyte cards, they're kind of pricey. Yeah, surely that'll be enough room, right? Recently, I had the pleasure of talking with Michael. And, I'm gonna try not to cry, but I can honestly say, I don't know which one of those two overachieved. Did Michael overachieve when he got with Mark, or did Mark overachieve when he got with Michael? As Michael and I chatted about dogs and diets and a dude named Mark, Michael's respect and admiration for Mark was really obvious. He spoke about how patient Mark is, which we all know that just by being the artistic director of DWC, he had to learn patience if he didn't already have it. So yes, you're welcome, Mark. And Michael told me how easygoing Mark is and how understanding. And I saw that understanding myself once when I slept through a DWC rehearsal and nobody could get a hold of me. Yeah. And instead of being mad, like a lot of other directors probably would have, Mark was worried about me. He just wanted to know if I was okay. And Mark and Allison handled the rehearsal like pros, and everything was cool. But yeah, definitely he is very understanding. And so when I was thinking about what to say today as a farewell, it struck me that calmness that I always felt from him when he was directing isn't just how he directs, it's really Mark.
And Michael helped me to see that. Mark, you're like this all the time, aren't you? So we've been really fortunate in DWC to have one of the best directors in the Denver area. And I just want to say, Mark, thank you for taking a chance on me when I auditioned for you in 2012. I still think you have a lot of nerve making up musical terms like, what the hell is a salto, really? Anyway. But anyway, good for you. And we'll try to put it in a dictionary somewhere for you, and you'll get credit for that. Okay, Mark, thank you. This is not goodbye.
Thank you, Beth. That was well said. Wow. The good thing this is almost over. I'm not sure we can handle it. That was very heartfelt as well. So our next, it's kind of a gift, but it kind of isn't. But Emily is gonna present it, and then I'm gonna show a quick picture of what we have next for you. Does he see it? Okay, so one of the things that, again, this has to do with food. And one of the things that we wanted to know is, what was his favorite cake? And so Emily had the idea of putting one of his favorite Markisms on it. I want this sung at my funeral. So that's what the cake says on top. It is a cake of red, it's a red velvet cake. And I was like, who in the world eats red velvet? And then I'd never had one. And then, so I actually had red velvet cake about 2 weeks ago. And now I know why you like this cake. So Mark, enjoy this cake. And I hope it doesn't add to a COVID-15 gain or anything like that. So thank you, Emily. Emily donated that cake, by the way. All right, our next presenter is our assistant artistic director, Allison Dozer. She's also an Alto 1, and she has a presentation for you that I'm sure you will never forget. Allison?
Hey y'all, this is my first roast, and I wasn't sure how to start, so I thought maybe we should warm up with some of Mark's infamous choreography. So if you could please mute, then you won't get feedback when you enjoy this short warm up I've prepared for you.
Here my eyes will see only you, only you.
Yes. So I can make that video available, Mark, if you ever need to submit it as part of an application for a future choreography job. I want to say in all the years that I've gotten to sing under Mark's direction, perform with him at cabarets and private parties and retreats, and work alongside him, food has definitely had a prominent role in our relationship. I won't say Mark's not an adventurous eater, but I think his favorite flavor could best be described as fried. I would say he likes to say that at Take Note auditions, when I was in charge of snacks, that I would expose him to foods he might otherwise not eat, like grapes or other fruits or vegetables. He did eat some hummus one time. And this is a true story. Take Note auditions happened over more than one evening. And one evening I brought vegan coconut chocolate chip cookies. And on the first night, he said, "What the hell is this?" And then he saw the calorie count and said, "Are you trying to kill me? Oh my God, get these away from me." So when I came for the next night of auditions and I didn't have them, he demanded to know where they were. He was so upset. Yeah. Mark is the only person I've ever known who's called this middle-aged white lady from Idaho a rock star. So there's that. You know, I have a degree in therapy, but Mark is the only person who's ever tried to convince me that therapy can also be described as a person spending hours by themselves in a rehearsal space lining up chairs. What else can I say? You know, DWC retreats, just a couple of notes. Number one, Mark insists, and I think this is historical fact, that there's never been any drinking of any alcohol at any DWC retreat in the history of the chorus. And I want to say the only thing better than a DWC retreat is a DWC retreat when someone performs an excerpt of a vagina monologue. And the only thing better than somebody performing an excerpt of a vagina monologue is the look on Mark's face while it's happening. I feel like that has had a larger audience in some ways than the monologue itself. I have to say, working alongside Mark as his assistant director, I've had more than my share of experiences with songs that had prominent feminist themes, had pop or other complicated rhythms, or had languages other than English. Those were often allocated to me. I have to say, as much as Mark and I have consulted about music, as much as we've done that, Mark has always consulted about the membership and about people he cared about, making sure people felt included, making sure people had access to the chorus, and trying to make sure that no barrier, whether it was transportation or finances, ever kept someone from the community. And that's something I hope the chorus can carry forward, but I certainly think Mark centered. I have to say, I don't think, if I hadn't met Mark and joined the Denver Women's Chorus, I think it's unlikely that I would ever have conducted a chorus at all. Mark promoted me. He thought me capable of things I didn't know I could do. And so there's so many things I could say, but I guess I'll just say thank you, Mark, for believing in me and for believing in the Denver Women's Chorus. Let me see.
I had to unmute myself. Thank you, Allison. That was awesome. So our final presentation, I think, is one of the most special parts of tonight. And Sina, Emily, and Angie, I'd like you all three to present this to Mark. It's in a box, and I see Mark already eating the cake, so that is good news. I'm really glad to see that. And so once you open this, Mark, Angie is going to tell you what it is. And then Allison, I'm sorry, Angie, I can't remember it. Well, We'll wait until you open it and then we'll go from there. Sorry, we didn't wrap it. It's a fragile thing, so we needed to make sure it stayed where it is. So there's a glare on it. Angie, you wanna, on our end, tell them what it is? And I apologize, this one I don't have a picture of. Are my assistants still there? Yoo-hoo. Do we need to ring the doorbell?
Okay, is that better?
Okay, thank you.
Yep, it's a little bit hard to tell, but I'm going to share a screen so that everyone can see it. But what we did is I took our last recording of Step by Step and I put it onto a website where it turns it into a sound bar. And you can see there's a little QR code in the corner. So anytime Mark wants to hear Step by Step by us, he can scan it with his phone or his iPad and listen to it. But it's a nice way to hang it, and it's got a nice thing to hang in his house somewhere if he wants to hang it up. But it's just a little thing to remember us by. So
It's really nice.
So there's that, and I'm going to share a screen and try to play it here.
Can you pull it up so we can see it?
She is. So hang on a second, Cheryl. She's got there. Yeah.
Let's see. Where are you?
So that's what the sound bar looks like.
Can you mute him?
Wait till her.
Lynn, you're muted.
Okay, am I on now? Sorry about that. I wanted to say again, Angie Gilbert was the one that designed that sound bar. And we thought it'd be kind of cool to be able to put that next to your plaque, unless you want to put it somewhere else. But again, the committee really wanted something musical that you would remember us by. And since that is such a tradition of yours, we wanted you to have that, Mark. So we hope that you really like that.
We're looking at the pictures.
Oh,
Sorry. Oh my God, I remember that one.
So the next and last thing that we're gonna do is a letter that I wrote you. Is there an echo? So I wonder what's going on. Angie, do you have an idea of why that's echoing? Is it good now? Okay, thank you. And then once I'm finished with my letter, Mark, we'll turn it over to you to say a few words. So I wrote a letter because I didn't want to, it's just easier for me to write a letter. Let's just put it that way. So dear Mark, I'm sitting here contemplating the writing of this letter to you. I say that because we didn't want this day to come, and yet we knew it. We know it's here. Today, you will be starting a new chapter in your life and leaving your legacy behind with our chorus. I recently was talking with a group of educators, and I talked about my life being like a book. Each chapter in our book of life is a reflection or reminder of what we have done or experienced. Once something comes to an end, we move to the next chapter, a new experience and a new horizon. Your next chapter is about to start, Mark, and the rest of us will also start anew. Please know that because we have shared many experiences together, there is a feeling of sadness. Having to say goodbye to you is an occasion of somber reflection. It will be hard for me and many of us to imagine our Sunday rehearsals and concert performances without you. And yet we know we will see you again. Nonetheless, I will never forget the time you served as our artistic director. You have given of yourself like no other. You worked long hours preparing for rehearsals and concerts, attending meetings, and personally connecting with our members. Your time was spent shaping the traditions of DWC that we all have grown to love and appreciate. Most importantly, Mark, you sacrificed time with your family and friends to make our chorus fun and a place where we could gather together singing, laughing, and loving each other. For that, I am grateful and thank you for what you have done over the years. As you retire from DWC, keep a firm grip on your perspective towards life. Life is not measured so much by the quantity of days, but by their quality. Bring your all to bear upon the coming days of your life so that each day will be the fulfillment of a hope, a dream. Fill your days with beautiful memories, Mark, and joyful moments. Don't retire from life, but continue to experience all that life has to offer. As you retire, share your wisdom and your knowledge. See the gift of retirement as a gift of new horizons. So, Mr. Mark Zwilling, know that we have enjoyed reading your memories of DWC, and I think many of us have learned a thing or two. Although there are probably many more stories you could have highlighted. I know that those of us who have sung with you will never forget the fun we've had together, the concerts that moved us, and all the Markisms that go along with your personality. You will be missed, and we will never forget you. This isn't goodbye, Mr. Retired Mark Zwilling. The chorus, the council, and I will just say, see you later. With great love and admiration from all of us, Lynn. So now I turn it over to you, Mark.
The team here is trying to get me to unmute myself. Um, this has been such a wonderful evening. And you know, I've said throughout my entire time with the Denver Women's Chorus that I really think that the Denver Women's Chorus is a best kept secret in Denver. The whole world should know about the Denver Women's Chorus. You have just been the most incredible community for me throughout my time. So many incredible people and loving people and talented people. I can't say enough about Allison and Beth and how hard so many of the committees work. And boy, this anniversary committee really outdid yourself. And I mean, who in the world gets to have Mark Hayes at their going away party? That was very, very special. But I just want you to know that I think the thing that I'm most hopeful about is the future of the Denver Women's Chorus. I think you have an incredibly bright future. The little bit I know about the search committee, they are incredibly gifted, and you have incredibly gifted candidates coming. And I think my legacy, I hope, is to be able to have somebody else be able to take a good choir and make it even better. And I think you've been a great choir for me, but the future is so bright. And part of that is your incredible team. I just want to say that the staff at RMAA has been always incredibly supportive of me. And that includes James and Anne and other board people and the council and Lynn. You really have tried to work hard and work so hard on various aspects and things that I'm not good at. But I just want everyone to know, you know, I have just loved knowing every soul in the chorus. And I think it was both a blessing and a curse, because I knew when you weren't at rehearsal. I mean, I had that weird ability of looking around the room and going, okay, we're missing, you know. And but anyway, I just want to thank you for such an incredibly beautiful celebration. And it's been so fun to have the team here, and it's fun to have a partner that puts up with me, because he, as you know, he's probably spends a lot of lonely evenings while I'm at rehearsal setting up chairs. Michael would always say to me, why do you go there 4 hours early? And I'm like, but the chairs have to be perfect. And he's like, why don't go so early? And I'm like, yeah, but the chairs, it's all about the chairs. And it was my charity that got me through a lot. But anyway, I'm really, really, really proud of this chorus. And I want you to know that even in March, when I drove away from our final rehearsal together, not knowing that was our final rehearsal together before the pandemic, I had such an incredible, warm, happy feeling. And I was like, that is just an amazing group of people. And that night we had 146 in the room and a lot of new people. And we were so excited to start working on music, and Allison had begun some of her pieces. And I think we all just knew it was going to be a great concert. And I think you're going to have that great concert in the future of that music that we had. But anyway, this is not a wake. I'm not even moving out of town. So I want you to know that I will be here for you, and I hope we have lots of individual celebrations. But anyway, Lynn and your team, thank you so much for, I've had other going away things, and this, I have to say, you've done yourself proud. And the Denver Women's Chorus is just, as to use Allison's terms, you're all rock stars. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So that, I want to thank you all for being here. And, you know, we invited lots of people. DGMC members are here, and thank you so much for being a part of this celebration with us. It was really important for you all to be here with us. We also invited some Out Loud individuals. I don't know if anyone is here from Out Loud. We have several alumni that are here. We have several board members that are here, and of course RMAA. So the rest of the chorus members, thank you all for taking time out to be here today. Couldn't have done it without you. And Mark, I agree with you. You're not going anywhere. Now that we know that where Michael lives, we can go, you know, ring and show up. So anyway, you're still going to be coming around. And again, thank you so much for letting 3 of the chorus members invade your home today with all of that stuff and food and cake and whatnot. And so now what we're going to do, anybody who wants to stay on and talk with Mark, are you still up for that, Mark, to kind of hang out a little bit if people want to talk to you? So the best way that we're going to try to do that is we have committee members that are going to help me watch the chat. And so I'll acknowledge you through the chat. And that way y'all can have a little bit of time with Mark. Corinne, you're up.
Awesome. Hey, Mark, I kind of messaged you when I heard that you were retiring from the chorus, and I was surprised to hear that, but I messaged you and I kind of told you this, but I want everybody else to know, because I think especially for some folks who are newer in our course, you don't know Mark very well. But you know, I've been in the course for quite a while. So many years ago, I lost my father first, and then my mother. And Mark was so kind to me. I mean, like, he knew when I walked into the room after that happened, and I came back from their funeral, and he was like, I know you don't want to be here. You're just so, you know, emotionally heartbroken. And he connects with us that way. And also recently, you know, with tough times at work and things that were going on, I was having a hard time, and Mark recognized that, although I never talked to him. I never even said anything to him. He just saw me in the I almost said the audience, but in the chorus. He saw me and he messaged me and said, hey, you know, you might, I can't remember exactly what he said, but something like, you look like you might be a little down. I just want you to know how much we love having you and how much I love seeing your smiling face. And that like made my week. It like made me feel so much better, so good. And I needed that. So I want you guys to know that Mark really does he does see us, and he does care, and he does think about us like he's saying he does. And also, Mark, I will never forget, and I will always be thankful that you played at our wedding. That was like the best wedding gift you could have ever given us. You played as people were coming in. Please don't cut me off. Okay, she's about to cut me off. Anyway, you played it as people came into the dining area, and it was so beautiful, and it was such a wonderful gift, and you just did that because you wanted to. So thank you so much for that. It was special. It was very special.
Thanks, Kareen. So Katie G will go next. Christine will be next after that, and then Stephanie.
I was just thinking about you today, and I've known you for a very long time. 2/3 of my life, in fact, having met you, I think when I was 9 or 10 years old. And I feel like at that time we didn't have much of a relationship. We didn't cross paths that much until I was 13. I remember on confirmation retreat, I grew up at Mark's church. You came, and some other St. Andrew staff members came and told us about your journey and how you got to where you were. And as a very ignorant 13-year-old, from you and Cindy Bates, I learned about like gay people. I mean, that's so ignorant, but we lived in a very whitewashed world, and I didn't know that. It was like, these are people I know and care about. This is a totally normal thing. And it was really special to hear your story and this woman that we both know, Cindy, who is spectacular. It came back to bite me in the ass when I went to seminary, and I didn't know that our denomination is not so cool with gay people. And I made like a proclamation in a class about it. And people are like, no, Katie, they are not. And I was like, because our community at St. Andrew, you would never know. You would never know that, there was no difference. Everyone was just loved and cared about the same, and love was love. And I felt like after being super embarrassed and coming home and telling my husband like, oh, Katie looked like an idiot in class. I realized that it was really a gift that I was given to grow up blind and deaf to, I'm gonna cry now, to the hate of this world. And I also wanted to echo what Kareen said, that you really do care about each and every one of us. When I joined the chorus, was the start of like the worst time in my life, when I started having seizures uncontrollably. And I really felt your support and your love. Sometimes one of my parents would learn things from you about my health that I had not told them. And I would deduct like, oh, did you see Mark recently? And he would say, yes. And I'd be like, oh yeah, because you would ask, what's going on with your doctors and I felt so heard and cared for. I remember we went on a vacation shortly after my second round of grand mal seizures, and I told you I was going to be gone, and the look on your face was horrified. And I was like, no, we're going on vacation. We're going to the beach. And you're like, oh, good. Because I think your assumption was, I would need to take time off to be in the hospital, or, and the final little tidbit I'll share is the concert I came to after my surgery. I was so looking forward to seeing everyone. And during intermission, I went looking for you among a lot of people. And Patrick, my husband, was sitting in the audience. And you came down and sit down, and Patrick says, Mark, why are you here? Katie is looking for you. And you said, well, I've been looking for her and I can't find her. And so finally, when I came back to sit down, was when a chance we had to catch up, and just to feel the love and support from you that, from my journey as from a child to defeat the most difficult thing I've done. You and this course have meant so much to me, and I'm really grateful. And I also know where you live, so I can find you. And if you need a puppy to like bite and pee in your house, I will bring her. So thank you for everything. And thank you, Lynn and group. This has been beautiful. Truly beautiful.
Thank you, Katie. Christine?
Thanks, Lynn. Mark, I haven't known you as many years as so many of these other people, but that doesn't mean that you just haven't made a real impression on my heart in the time that I have known you. It was really a stretch for me to try out for the Denver Women's Chorus, and I felt like you were so supportive of me as I was exploring my identity and my voice, and just said, don't worry if you can't hit all those high notes, but I always felt like you really thought I contributed something to the chorus, and that was so special to me. And you actually learned my name, and I was going to be okay if you never remembered exactly who I was. But you did, and that was sweet. And then I still remember your stern look when I told you I wasn't going to be able to do the Quiet No More stuff. And it's like, no, you've got to be here. And it's like, no, Mark, I've got to go have surgery. This is like really important to me. And, but I felt your love and support through all that. So thank you so much. You've been a mentor and a coach. And, that when we were doing the Make Them Hear You and the verbal stuff, it was so important that we got to go over to your house and get the coaching from your friend. And it was really made all of us better and stronger. So I shall miss you a lot, and I hope our lives continue to cross paths. So thank you.
Stephanie?
Oh boy. Mark. I don't know if you remember, and I don't, a lot of people don't know this either in this group. You and I started with DWC at the same time. Your first season was my first season as well. And it seems like forever ago. I remember my audition really well. We did, the usual audition things, and then you got a very serious look on your face, and you said, well, this chorus is kind of cliquish. And I said, oh, you mean there's dyke drama? And he said, yes. And you look so surprised. That was the moment when I realized that your gaydar blows. So that's so I realized, okay, so I don't know what to do about that, but I don't know how it's gonna be at rehearsal without you there, because you've always been there. I guess we'll just have to get together a bunch of people and go out to eat sometime to one of the funky places of my choice. And of course, I guess it's not goodbye. And I mean, I do know where you live too. I think I can try to figure it out, or I can always, get on board with somebody going over there to, say, to bug you about something, or say hey or something or other. I don't know where to end this. So you'll be missed. You'll be missed a lot. I'll miss you a lot. It's going to be really hard not to have your goofy sense of humor on every week. So Godspeed and good luck, and yeah.
Peg?
Wow, Mark, this is hard. What a delight to be with all of these wonderful women, and especially you, Mark, because we have certainly had some times together. Good gravy, you've been here a long time. What a surprise. And to watch this choir grow and mature and just create incredible music, I just want to honor you for that. You've always been really supportive of me, oftentimes kind of under the table, allowing me some breadth of permission to just be where I had to be and do what I had to do. And I want you to know from my heart that I really do appreciate that. I love what you've done with the women here. I love that you have held on to the traditions that we've had for years and years. I've had the pleasure of being with this chorus through many different directorships, and I honor what you've done with us. And I just want to say thank you to this committee too. This has been a beautiful, beautiful celebration and so creative in the gifts. So I know that you are richly blessed, my friend. I know that you are highly loved. And I know that wherever you take your soaring talent, there'll be a lot of hearts moved. So bless you, Godspeed, and soar on, Mark.
Thank you.
So I want to make sure that y'all don't think I've forgotten you. So I've got Cindy Roebuck up next, then Joey, then Yvonne, then Julie Roebuck, and then Lolo. So Cindy Roebuck, you're next.
Oh, I was fine. I was fine for most of this. And then y'all just started getting super sappy and then I wasn't fine. So thank you very much for the leaking from my face and the congestion in my nose. I appreciate it. Said no one ever. Oh, Mark, I don't want you to go. I'm so bummed that you're going and I didn't get to sing with you one more time, but you are truly one of the best directors I've ever sang under. And the way that you hold space for people, regardless of who that person is, regardless of how that person treats you in rehearsal, regardless of how they treat other people in rehearsal, like you are always a very compassionate and you are always there with just this warm and giving heart. And I mean, I'm relatively, in the grand scheme of the people who have spoken today, I'm definitely one of the newer people. But my second season was Gala 2016 when Pulse hit. And I remember not wanting to go to rehearsal, to just wanting to stay in bed and not do anything and just hide from the world. But the way that you fostered this sense of community right afterward and held space for us, even during rehearsal, and especially after rehearsal, we had like a special circle and everything, is a thing of leadership that I don't know how a lot of other people would have pulled that off quite as poetically well as you did. I will miss sincerely making you blush and making you squeal and squirm, especially when tits are involved. Someone had to say it. No one else was saying it. Unmute. But thank you, Mark, for everything that you gave us. Thank you for the time, the dedication. Tits! If nothing else, that's recorded on this, so you can look back on this and then hear tits. A small chorus of it. Someday, like that will be at your funeral. That'll be the closing number. We'll just have an a cappella version of tits, 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 tits. Close. But you're wonderful, Mark, and you will be sorely missed. But we definitely need to hang out and have some like drunk brunches or something, because I feel like with a couple mimosas in you, you'd be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Cindy. Joey?
First of all, tits. I had no choice. As most of you probably know, and probably the ones who've not been here 1,110 years like some of us, I met my late wife of blessed memory in the chorus, so it's hard for me to think about DWC over the years without her being involved, but it is impossible for me to think of it without Mark. I don't even know what it looks like without Mark. So I just want to give a couple of cute little anecdotes. and I told one of these in chat, but I don't think that Mark was looking at chat. So I don't know if you remember this, Mark, but when Miriam joined the chorus, the only couple of things that you knew about her that you picked up from whatever, the audition process or whatever, was that she was a rabbi. She wasn't a rabbi. And that she had 4 kids, which was true. She did have 4 kids. And they were all very young at that time. And the first several rehearsals that she was at DWC rehearsal, you were very concerned about where the children were right then. Like, because you'd never had kids. I don't think you ever worked with a whole lot of kids. And they were like 11 down through 5 at that time. And so Mark was very concerned, and he would come up to Miriam periodically for the first like half the season, and he would say with this look of worry, and he'd say, so where are the kids right now? And she's like, they're with my mom. What's the problem? He's like, okay. So they're okay. She's like, Mark, it's fine. And so she eventually just looked at him one time and said, Mark, they're up my ass. And I think he probably blushed. But I hear you laughing over there. But so I just want to say, Mark, I don't know what DWC is going to be like without you. I feel a great responsibility as part of the search committee to find somebody who can even hold a candle to you. And I am very grateful. Mark also reached out. I tried to rejoin DWC about 6 years ago, right when we first moved back to Denver, and Miriam was still very sick. And I came to a couple of rehearsals because I wanted to get back into the community. And he sent me a Facebook message right after I showed up the first time and said, I was so surprised but so happy to see you. I hope that you'll be able to stick with us. And I said, we'll have to see. I wasn't able to. But Miriam died in mid-January 2019. And the first thing that I did was rejoin for the spring season because that was where I wanted to be. And a lot of that was because of Mark, because he's extraordinarily kind, extraordinarily skilled, and I'm very grateful for all of the unique blend of compassion and skill and unflappability that you have brought to the dyke drama that is this chorus. So thank you very much. I will miss you immensely, and I love you. Wow.
Yvonne?
This is Sister. Hi, Brother Mark. I want to thank you for another Sunday, right? Today, Pentecost Sunday. And you really have not only shared your brilliant musical skills and brought the best out of all of us, but you have shown us who you truly are, because I think through singing, everyone lets down those masks. Pardon pun. I mean, none of us are wearing masks right now, and you get to show who you truly are. So thank you for that gift, because that's the gift that comes behind the music, with the music, and with the community that you wanted to form, and you did. And so Mark Christopher, and I know the Catholics the Romans had knocked off Christopher from the calendar of saints, but Christopher always came back. Christopher never left. And that's the saint for those who are traveling. So as you continue to travel, may you always have that presence of the spirit of Christopher with you. And you're also an evangelist because you're Mark, right? One of the 4. And I am going to miss you. I'm going to miss all of you because I'm going to be leaving for Florida. And, but I always carry this moment. This is another Sunday. And I think each Sunday I'm going to try to always remember this feeling right now, because you have accomplished what you set out to do. And also Allison, for being a person showing her gifts as well. Continue to show those gifts, because you made a difference in so many people's lives. And Beth, an accompanist like none other, and you've accompanied us on our journey. So thank you. Thank you, Mark. Mil gracias, lots of blessings, and continue being you. Thanks.
Julie Roebuck.
So I didn't think I was going to speak, but then I just decided that I could not speak. So When I first came to the Denver Women's Chorus, I had no clue what to expect. And it was, even though I was mom for the first season instead of Julie, just because you knew that I was Cindy's mom, and you totally connected me there. But once you figured out my name, which was wonderful, I just can't go without telling you, and you've heard it several times, but you know, your ability to take a piece of music and turn it in to what you turn it into with all of us every single time. And that musicianship that you have and your amazing talent at the piano and as a director, your compassion, your care for others, as we've heard over and over, your love for everything that you do, shows and everything, your humor, your goofy naivety, if you will, or not, and your passion for everything you do, did not go unnoticed and always will be missed and loved and treasured. So thank you for everything, and thank you for being a part of my life for the last 7 years.
Thanks, Julie.
Hello, everyone. First, I want to say I think I might be one of the only people that Mark actually learned my name right away, because I decided to go by my nickname of Lolo, which I don't know if it was the simplicity of the name, if he liked the repetitive sound, or like the alliteration of it, but it worked. Somehow it worked. So Lolo seemed to work, which to me as a new member, I felt so like recognized, which it was a really good feeling for me. But from the start at my audition, I remember singing, or was it America the Beautiful, whatever that song was. I sang it, and when I was done, you just looked at me and you were like, wow. And you were like, I don't normally say that. And I just felt so like, I've been in so many choirs growing up, and I never like felt like heard or seen by somebody that I felt it mattered, because you were a professional and you knew, like I always knew I could sing, but not like recognized for it truly by somebody that it mattered through. And then there was, when we were rehearsing for Quiet No More one day, we were all seated while the soloist was practicing, and we were just singing in the background. And you were kind of right in front of me, and I was singing, and we walked, and you turned and you looked at me and you were like, wow, that's really beautiful. And I just, whenever you doubt your impact on other people's lives and how important you are, please remember the impact you've had on all of us individually. Like all these stories we're hearing, like you've impacted so many lives. And if you ever doubt yourself, just remember that, and you're so loved. And I was only in it for a little while, and I've kind of been MIA in the last year, but you've meant a lot to me. So thank you.
Thank you.
That was the last person that I had. Does anybody else want to say anything before we sign off for the evening?
Tits.
Tits.
Tits. All right, tits. Tits. We love you, Mark.
And beavers.
Yeah.
They want to say anything other than tits.
Oh, yes.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks again, everyone. Michael,
Thank you.
for making this happen. And Mark, you're a rock star, buddy.
Thank you. I love you all, and I will see you again.
Okay.
Yes.
Count on it, buddy. Count on it.
Coffee.
See you, everybody.
Get an art
Love
gallery
you, Mark.
viewer.
Hi, everybody. Lynn,
Yeah,
is this recording on my computer or your computer? I see the recording on it.
that's a good question. I don't know. I see it.
Angie, see,
Hey, is Angie still there? Mark? Don't.
yes.
Hey, Angie?
Are you
Can you talk?
Yeah, I am.
Angie,
Andy's
unmute.
recording it.
I recorded.
Angie said she's got it.
Okay,
Okay.
just want to make sure I
Cool.
didn't have to do anything.
Always an executive director, Michael.
Okay, Angie, I don't need to do anything to make sure we save this for people.
We're all good.
All right, cool.
Thank you all.
Good night, all.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you all.
Bye.
Night.